Grandma's collection of stories and poems. This is a story of a grandma's love for her grandchild. The story started many long months before that child was born. It began when Grandma found out that her new grandbaby would be joining her family. It was one of the happiest days in Grandma's life. That night, Grandma dreamed of what her grandchild would look like. Brown eyes or blue? Baby boy with the dark brown eyes, how much I love you could fill the skies, because you are a blessing that I recognize. Or will your eyes be the color of the sea, blue as the sunny sky above me, with a sparkle like a shiny gold key? Will your hair be as yellow as a daffodil in spring, that calls to the honey-bee with his small painful sting, flying straight to the flower on his tiny little wings? Or will it be black as the crow, that shines in the sun with a bright diamond glow? And will it be short, or as long as a river's flow? Will you be a rough and tough little boy, or will you be gentle and sweet, a bit coy, as I watch you play on the floor with your toy? Maybe a little bit of both would be good, because boys can be rowdy, yet act as they should, and make Mommy and Daddy happy when they could. It does not matter the color of your eyes, for they will be beautiful, filled with surprise, at how much you are loved because you are a prize. It does not matter the color of your hair, or if it is as rough as a big grizzly bear, because we love it and you too far beyond compare. In the morning, as Grandma took her creaking old bones out from under her blankets and placed her nice warm feet upon the cold tiled floor, she thought about her little baby and the dreams that she had the night before. Grandma thought about all the quiet moments that they would share over the years to come. She thought about all the mischief that her little love would get into. She saw him, or her, learning to walk from his mother's loving arms across the carpeted floor straight into her own arms, and Grandma cried tears of joy because she loved the child so very much. Grandma had seen all of this in her peaceful, sleepy dreams. As she slid her feet into her pink and blue slippers that sat on the floor next to her bed, Grandma wondered if she could knit some tiny slippers and maybe even a little hat for the baby that would soon be arriving. "Yes, I will give it a try," she thought out loud, although she was there in her room alone. "I will look on the internet to see what pretty little things I could make." When she was finished making a cup of coffee, she headed to her computer, which sat on a desk in the dining room, her hot brew in her hand. She couldn't wait to see what lovely gifts she could make for her grandchild. Should it be a hat and some mittens? Maybe I should start out with something simple, like a little baby blanket, she thought. Grandma often talked to herself. This helped her think clearly. So many cute little things she found. Grandma wanted to make all of them, but she knew she wouldn't be able to do that, so she continued to search for the perfect gift for her grandbaby. There were rattles and dolls, sweaters and hats, bears and bunnies, and even dresses and jumpers. So many things to choose from, and Grandma looked at all of them. She pictured her baby in this outfit, lying on that blanket, playing with that toy. In her mind, her grandchild's face changed with each new picture because she had no way of knowing what her baby would look like. But she did know that her baby would be the most beautiful baby in the world. There you lie. So quiet and still there you lie, asleep on your blanket, not a whimper or a cry. Your curly dark hair peeks from under your cap. I watch from the rocker while you take a wee nap. I could watch you for hours and days at a time, until the soft little whimper you utter like a chime. I rush to you there as you lie on the floor, and pick you up gently, cradling the baby I adore. The pretty blue and white blanket that Grandma will make gets swaddled around the baby, in Grandma's mind comforting both the grandchild and the grandma at once. Then Grandma sees a perfect little bunny that she can knit for her little love, but she isn't so certain that she has the knowledge to do such a difficult project. but she knows that it is beautiful and that her baby would love it. "I'll try it," she thinks to herself. "If it doesn't work, then I could always try something else." So Grandma studies the instructions and the pattern, hoping that an attempt would work out because she so wanted her grandchild to have this cuddly little bunny. Cuddly Baby Bunny. Little baby bunny, hopping here and there, through the grass and forest, you disappear somewhere. I want you to come back to me so I can pet your hair. Cuddly baby bunny, come sit here in my chair. Grandma can see her baby as he sits in the tall green grass. Bunnies, maybe 3 or 4 of them, romp in the garden around him. They jump into his lap and he giggles his own special giggle. He pats them gently, just like his daddy showed him. He knows he must be kind to his furry friends or they will all run away. There are 3 white rabbits, all with long, soft fur that Grandma's little one loves to rub. It feels just like the blanket his grandma made for him. It is his most favorite blanket. It is the blanket that he likes to cuddle up with when he lays his little head down at night. The last little bunny, so yes, there are 4, is all different shades of brown and he has short hair. However, his ears are very, very long, and the furry part at the very tip is long and white, just like the other bunny's entire bodies. This bunny is her little love's favorite furry friend. This bunny loves to sit in the child's lap and take a nap. All of the others jump up and down, but never sleep on his lap. Then Grandma recalled the dream she had just before she woke. It was about a little fairy prince that lived in a magical forest. Grandma thought that this fairy prince was her little grandchild, at least while she slept. The Fairy Prince. Deep inside the forest wishing, a fairy prince went river fishing. He was searching for the perfect trout, but the perfect fish was nowhere about. The fairy prince searched the river moor, where he found a ship on the river's floor. The ship was broken and torn in two, and when he looked closely, he saw a shoe. As he reached out a hand to touch, it moved a little, and then very much. He was startled when the shoe ran past. With the twin of it, they were moving fast. The fairy prince rushed to follow then, but he did not know to where or when. So the prince searched the river's banks, and when the shoe he spied, he gave great thanks. He knew he must approach cautiously and slow, else the small creature who wore the shoes would go. Slowly through the forest the tiny prince crept, and when he came close to the creature, he saw that she wept. The whisper-soft cries brought a tear to his eyes, and when his hand touched her gently, she cried out in surprise. She tried to turn and run quickly away, but the prince pleaded and asked her to stay. The girl stopped when she heard the tiny prince's voice and thought for a moment, but then made her choice. Turning slowly around, she fell to her knees and begged for forgiveness with her quiet pleas. "Forgive you for what?" asked the prince of the girl, and reached out to touch a tiny red curl. "I'm sorry, your highness," she said with a frown. "I've taken it from you, I've hidden the crown." The forest was filling with those who would hear, and surrounded the prince, growing ever more near. All the creatures that dwelt in the magical wood came from far-away corners and by the prince stood. They whispered and jittered and wanted to know if the fairy prince now would some mercy show. The gnomes and the fairies and tiny pixies too all gathered together while their curiosity grew. "What will he do to the little girl gnome? Will he put her in jail, not let her go home?" Every small girl, and even the large, wondered if the Prince Fairy would take her in charge. The boy trolls and elves looked quizzically on as they watched the small prince lay his hand softly upon the pretty gnome head full of curls all askew, and whispered so quietly that no one else knew what the prince said to the little gnome girl with the red curly hair that was all in a whirl. She stopped crying then and raised from her knees and bowed to her prince, who said to her, "Please." He reached out his hand and beckoned her come, while the creatures watched silently, all a bit numb. They watched as their prince lifted her into a tree and placed her there high for all the creatures to see. He tapped her curls gently, then turned to the crowd and spoke to his people in a voice that was loud. "This tiny gnome girl has done something, you see. She has taken my magical crown and hidden it from me." Every creature that heard it fell to their knees on the ground, and a gasp was then heard through the forest around. Then the silence filled the forest. Not a tweet of a bird, not a frog's ribbit or a bee's buzz could be heard. The fairy prince stood for a moment and looked at his people, then pointed away to the church bell and steeple. "Everyone go to the church right away. I want you all there, so none of you stay." Every creature in the forest did as he asked, for their loyalty to their prince was unsurpassed. They walked silently to the church, hand in hand, for they feared that there would be great reprimand. Each of the forest creature knew the small girl, with the hair that was red, with more than one curl. They knew the small girl, and they all loved her so, because she was as gentle as a wee baby doe. When the creatures were seated upon every pew, the Prince Fairy stood, and he turned for a view of his creatures all gathered to hear the sad news of a little gnome girl that he would not abuse. "This tiny gnome girl that stands here now has done me great service. I'll explain to you how." The church bells rang out, startling all gathered there, and they all looked around, for it gave them a scare. Who rang the church bells? They had not a clue, because all were there gathered, sitting on the church pew. The tiny prince touched a pointy finger to hush to his lips, and the room silenced with a rush. "The bells have rung out by the one that is guilty of plotting to bury the crown, make it silty. This little gnome girl overheard his awful plan to bury it on the banks of the river Flan. That is the reason she's hidden the crown, to protect it from being buried deep in the ground, in the silty banks by a cowardly thief who would cause me such a horrible grief." The creatures that heard him just could not believe, no, they could not begin to even conceive why someone would steal the magical crown and put it so deep, deep down into the ground. When suddenly those gathered heard a faint, quiet plea from up in the rafters, but no one could see. Who was crying, yes, weeping with such fervent sorrow, as if that perhaps there would be no tomorrow? The one who was crying came down the church step, very slowly and quiet, without any pep. He walked past the pews where his neighbors were gathered, but would not look up, or he would surely be shattered. Everyone that he loved was seated in rows. All were present here now, all the creatures he knows. As he approached his prince, his weeping grew loud. When he reached the front pew, he fell down and bowed. "Yes, Highness, I planned what you say, but the reason I did is so you will stay. Please forgive me, I beg you, for my horrible plan, but I thought you would leave us when you've grown to a man. And I knew that if you hadn't a crown that you would stay here, never leave our small town. I know that the prince of the unicorns do grow, and then turn to men who leave home, don't you know? All the gnomes do the same when they grow into men, and leave their own places and find new places then. I could not bear for you to leave, so then a plan I did conceive. The crowd that gathered in the pews, every one, had tears in their eyes that started to run. From their eyes, straight down their small dirty cheeks, they traveled along, leaving clean little streaks. The prince spoke up then, and he spoke to the crowd. I want you to know that thieving is never allowed. Creatures that steal from others are reproved, for such a grievous act is never approved. Another hush fell through the mass. They all wanted the prince's judgment to pass. These two lovely creatures must justice see, for they both plan to steal the crown from me. The weeping that went through those gathered grew more, and the prince spoke up loudly for order to restore. Please settle down to a quiet hum, and listen carefully while I try to sum. While it is true that they must penalty pay, please listen carefully to what I will say. I will begin with the tiny gnome girl with a head full of every red curl. You, my dear one that has stolen my crown, will bring it straight to me without a deep frown. She exited the church in such a great haste that the sight of her couldn't even be traced. She returned in the very same second, so her departure could not be reckoned. She was clutching the crown now in her tiny hands, and wanted to know what the prince had for his plans. What punishment, Highness, will you bestow upon me now? I simply must know. If I must say goodbye to my friends and all of my family before my short life ends. A cry came from the other thief who drew near as he approached the prince without any fear. Highness, please show mercy upon this small gnome, and do not take her away from her home. She did this in loyalty because she loves you and wanted to protect and watch over you too. It is me who should receive the punishments due, for I am the reason you know it is true. The prince raised his hand then to silence the throng, then stood for a moment that seemed eternally long. These creatures before you that are down on their knees will receive mercy in no small degrees. They will pay for the crimes that have been done, but a greater loyalty has never been won. This tiny little gnome will live in the castle with me and care for all the children upon her wee knee. And you, little gargoyle, who begs me to stay, will pay with your life in no small way. The crowd gasped in horror and feared for their friend, and wanted to know what their prince had intend. No, my faithful friends, not in that way. This boy will serve with his life for to pay. He will captain my guard and watch over me and protect me from harm if there ever shall be. He will serve in this guard till he is too old to stand, and will serve in this way, he'll be my right hand. The crowd erupted in an impassioned glee. The prince thought a more beautiful sight he'd never see. Grandma hoped that her little one would love to have this story read to him over and again until the day that he could read the words for himself. She wanted her little boy to have the same kind and loving compassion that the tiny fairy prince had for his people. Grandma knew that if he listened to his mommy and daddy, following their example closely, that he would grow into a great man one day. She thought about the years that she would spend watching her little one grow, and wondered what kind of infant he would be. Would he be a quiet child that watched the world around him, learning from all that he saw? Or would he be the sort of boy that gets involved in everything around him? She knew he would be a good little boy, she just knew it. Grandma walked to her rocking chair that sat in the corner of her living room. As she sat, she recalled the many times that she sat in the same rocker, humming soft melodies to her other grandchildren. Those were all wonderful memories that she would remember forever. She also reminisced over the moments when she rocked her own children. This was a different rocking chair because the old one broke one day as her older children were playing on it. Those days of sitting quietly and singing or reading her children's stories were among some of Grandma's favorite memories, as were the memories of holding her grandbabies. She could recall singing a soft melody that didn't have a name because it was one that she made up herself. She didn't know why she sang it often, but it was a song that she knew well and one that she just found herself humming without forethought. It happened like magic. If the melody had words, Grandma thought, they might go something like this. Hush, my sweet little one. No crying now, my sweet little one, for my song to you has just begun. So hush, my pure, sweet little one. Hush now and don't you cry, and look out the window to the stars in the sky. So hush now, baby, and don't whimper or cry. Grandma loves her sweet little child, who had her from the start beguiled. Grandma loves you, my sweet little child. Your short curly hair so soft and fine, like the wings of an angel, so divine. Your beautiful hair so soft and fine. I love to run my fingers through, and I do believe you love it too. For you hush when I run my fingers through. You reach your hand to play with mine, as I touch yours too, your hair so fine. And I love that you reach and play with mine. Your quiet little coos are a song to me. The sound of them sets my heart free. Your lovely coos are your song to me. So no crying now, my sweet little one, for your song to me has just begun. So sing to me, my sweet little one. While she sat thinking about singing sweet songs to her baby, Grandma decided to start crocheting the blanket that she was making for him. She reached down to the floor where her basket of yarn and material sat next to the rocker and pulled out a large ball of blue yarn. Grandma loved this color blue, and she knew that it would match the color of the walls in his nursery. It was a dark midnight blue, and some of the walls in his room were the very same color. She had picked out some pretty blue and ivory fabric for it as well. And her plan was to make it into a quilted blanket that had crochet on one side and material on the other. She hoped that it would be her grandchild's favorite snuggle. The phone rang out, startling Grandma as she rocked along, singing the lullaby that she had been thinking about. She didn't like being disturbed while she crocheted because she could never remember where she had left off. She thought that maybe if she kept a pen and paper with her yarn, she might write the stitches down. The next time, Grandma thought out loud as she stood and walked to the telephone. Hello, Grandma said as she put the phone to her ear. Hi, Mom, her youngest daughter said. How are you today? Oh, I'm doing good, Grandma replied. I started the blanket for your little one, and I'm so happy that it seems to be turning out nicely. I think it's going to be beautiful. I'm sure it will be, Mom. You've made baby blankets before, and they all looked very nice, Courtney told her mother. I know, but I wanted this one to be extra special. This is an extra special baby, so he should have an extra special blanket. I do love the way it seems to be coming along, Grandma said. How are you today? I guess that you don't have to work, so are you feeling all right? Oh, yes, I'm feeling pretty good today, Courtney said. I just have today off. It's a good thing because I have so much to do. We will be putting the crib together today. I am so excited to see it in his room. Then his room will be finished. All the pictures are on the walls, the bookshelves are up, and the books are all in place, and I even washed his clothes and put them in his drawers already. Courtney was so excited to be having her first child, nearly as excited as Grandma was about having a new grandson. Since Grandma lived so far away from her daughter, they were both looking forward to seeing each other again. It had been over a year since they had seen each other, and the birth of this special baby was the best reason in the world to bring them together again. When Grandma hung up the phone, she went again and sat in the rocker for just a minute, then remembered that she wanted to bring a pen and paper over to the end table. She stood and walked over to her desk to get it, but she saw that she had a message from Courtney. She had sent a photograph of the nursery. It was beautiful with a few different colors of darker blue, beautiful oak bookshelves where so many stories of brave little children stood waiting to be read, a globe with which his mommy and daddy would one day soon tell him stories of the places they have visited and the places in which they have yet to visit. There was also a drawing of his dog Penny, who would watch over and protect him, play fetch with him, and let him snuggle up on the floor with her while he looks at a picture book. Another nursery rhyme about a little boy and his favorite place. Once upon a nursery tale. The stories always begin with once upon a time, it seems. They're always filled with happiness and pleasant little dreams. This tale is like the others, with goodness through and through, because this story, my littlest one, is all about you. It starts the same as the other stories, don't you know? So, once upon a time is the way that it will go. The next line is new to you, and it is new to me. It's about the babe that sits upon my knee. Once upon a time, just a short while ago, I met this happy baby that sets my heart aglow. I sit upon the rocking chair in the corner of his room and watch him while he sleeps, so sound, and my heart seems to bloom with happiness and love so great for this small child, who from the moment of his birth has had me so beguiled. His nursery is the perfect place, it is so happy there, for this cuddly little boy who is so very fair. He loves to lie and look around at the fishes and the bear he's found. His mommy and daddy have filled this room with love. You can see the love in everything, even the small baseball glove. The books on the shelves will help him learn with every page that he will turn. And the fishes, bears, and the glowworm, too, will keep him company and watch over him while he dreams about his loving family. The gumdrops add such colorful fun. They are as bright as the midday sun. There's a picture of the pretty dog that watches over him. He loves her so very much, a love that will never dim. For his dog Penny is loyal and always will be so, becoming ever closer the older they will grow. Now, the stories always finish with a happy ever-ending. This one is no different, and the happy is extending. Till the time when this child grows old, he has his family's love to hold. He seems to have us all more than a bit delighted. We all love this little baby who has our heart ignited. He giggles and he wiggles while he plays there with his toy. And we all just stand and watch in awe this happy little boy. No blessing could be greater than watching this baby grow into a playful child who is always on the go. His little nursery will change over the courses of the years, but will always be a comfort and help keep at bay the tears. And he will surely live a happily ever after, filling up this nursery with his frequent happy laughter. Grandma finds her pen and paper, then sits down in her place so that she could begin her crochet project once more. She has visions of how she would like this special blanket to look when it is finished, but since it is her own design, she can only imagine what it will look like when it is complete. She hopes that it turns out exactly how she has pictured it. This blanket was going to be the same colors as her grandson's nursery, with different shades of blue and white. It had to be soft and cuddly and cute and all the things that babies liked. Grandma was going to see if she could make matching toys too. She was going to begin with a stuffed giraffe instead of the bunny she thought of earlier, and if she had time and the ability to do more, she would. She hoped there was enough time to get them all done. Then she thought about a delightful story that she could tell her little one during quiet times. The Blue Giraffe and the Baby Boy. Once upon a time there lived a little blue giraffe. He was not only blue, but he was striped with white too. Now most of the other giraffes in the jungle were yellow and brown, and none of them had stripes. No, all the other giraffes had spots of all different shapes and sizes. Mo was proud of his blueness and whiteness, though, because he was different to all the others. He did not look like his mommy and daddy, and he did not look like any other creature in the jungle. His mommy told him that he was unique. He was not sure what that meant, but he thought that it meant that he was special. He felt special, too. But one day, when he was out by the river's edge getting a drink of water, a crocodile poked his head out from the murky water and asked, "What in the world are you?"
"Well, hello. My name is Mo, and I am a giraffe,"
the little giraffe told the large creature.
"What is your name?"
My friends call me Freddie,"
replied the crocodile.
"Are you my friend, Mo?"
"I think that would be nice, Freddie, if we could be friends,"
Mo said, hoping the crocodile would agree.
"I don't have many friends. Nobody ever wants to play with me, and I would really like someone to play with." "All right, Mo, we're going to be friends from now on,"
Freddie told him.
"What can we play?"
"Let's go run through the jungle and eat the leaves off the trees,"
Mo suggested excitedly.
"Sorry, but I can't go into the jungle, Mo. I have to stay close to the riverbank. There is danger out there for me,"
said the crocodile.
"Lions and tigers that can eat me."
"I have seen the lions, but we can run away from them, Freddie,"
Mo said.
"I am not that fast when I am out of the water, Mo. I move very quickly when I am in the river. But when I am on the dirt or jungle floor, I am slow, and the lions will catch me for sure."
"Okay, Freddie, we can stay here. I don't want the lions to catch my new friend,"
Mo exclaimed.
"What do you think we should play then?"
"I have a great idea. Let's swim down to the river's floor and gather some of the pretty rocks and shells that rest there,"
Freddie said as he turned and started to swim out further from the riverbank.
"Oh no, Freddie, I can't swim,"
Mo said sadly.
"I don't even like to put my feet in the water. Besides, there are creatures in the river that want to catch me and eat me too, like the other crocodiles. Are you sure that you wouldn't want to eat me, Freddie?"
"Yes, Mo, I think that the other crocodiles don't recognize you as being a giraffe. Besides, you are my friend. I wouldn't want to hurt my new friend," Freddie confessed. "Most of the giraffes are yellow and brown. I don't think they have ever seen a blue and white jungle animal before. They all think you're beautiful."
"None of the other giraffes think I'm beautiful, Freddie. They think I'm funny looking and they don't want to play with me,"
Mo said with tears in his eyes.
"But,"
he said, brightening a bit,
"now I have you, my best friend, and we can play all day."
"We just have to figure out what we can play, Mo,"
Freddie told the blue giraffe.
"I have an idea. Let's just walk along the river and we'll look for things to do. What do you think about that?"
"Oh, I like that idea, Freddie. Let's go this way,"
Mo said as he pointed his long leg upstream and began walking. He had to walk slowly for a few paces until Freddie crawled back into the river. Then he was able to walk as fast as his long legs could carry him, now that Freddie was swimming in the dirty brown water. The new friends walked for a few moments when they came upon a small school of fish that seemed to be having fun. They were swimming in and out of a hollowed-out log that was laying in a shallow part of the river. When Freddie and Mo spotted them, Freddie yelled out,
"Hey, fishes, can we play with you?"
But all the fish swam quickly away as one hollered out to them,
"No, we don't want to become your dinner."
"Aw, that's too bad," Freddie whined. "We could have had a lot of fun with them. I wouldn't have eaten them, not if they let us play."
"That's okay, Freddie. I couldn't swim anyway. I could only watch from the river bank while you all had fun, which would have been all right. I am used to watching other kids have fun. It's sort of fun for me when I watch others laughing and playing," Mo confessed.
Freddie didn't want Mo to sit and watch him play. He wanted Mo to play with him. They would find something fun for them both to play together. So, as Mo continued walking up the river's edge, Freddie continued swimming along. They talked about their families, and Freddie told Mo that he had 3 sisters and 5 brothers.
"We really don't see much of each other, though. Most of them have grown old enough to have families of their own. I think that I have 13 nieces and nephews out there along this river. My mommy and daddy are going to have some more babies pretty soon," he admitted.
"I only have one sister. She isn't blue like me, and she is 3 years older than I am," Mo said. "She still lives with us, and she doesn't have any children yet. I think she has a lot of friends, but they are too old for me to play with, so I mostly just play all by myself. I can usually find lots of things to do, though. I really like to try to see if I can hide in the jungle, and I sometimes pretend that I am a great big elephant. I run through the long grass and holler out as though I have a long truck that makes honking noises."
"That sounds like fun, Mo. I like to pretend that I'm a piranha and chase after the small fishes. I don't really scare them because they like to play that game too,"
Freddie said. Just then, the friends heard a bellow that sounded as though it was coming from a very large creature. "Freddie, it's time to come home. We're going to see your grandmother."
"Uh-oh," Freddie exclaimed. "Looks like we are going on a little trip over to the next river. My grandma doesn't live near us, so we make trips to her river to see her. It takes us a long time to swim over to her house, but she always has yummy snacks waiting for us when we get there."
"Okay, Freddie,"
Mo said sadly.
"Maybe I'll see you around next time I'm down by the river."
"But Mo, why don't we just meet in the same place tomorrow that we met today? Our visit will only be until dinner time tonight. Then we'll be heading back home,"
Freddie told Mo.
"All right, Freddie, if you think it will be okay."
Mo didn't want to sound too excited, but he was very excited about seeing his friend again the next day.
"And I'll try to think of something fun we can do together."
"You do that, Mo, and I'll think of some things we could do also,"
Freddie said as he began to swim off down the river.
"We'll do something fun, you'll see. See you tomorrow, Mo."
"I'll see you tomorrow, Freddie."
Mo yelled after Freddie, then turned to walk up the river a little more. He was walking slowly into the green grass of the jungle away from the river. He kept thinking about all the fun things he and Freddie could do the next day. He thought they could have a race down the river, Freddie swimming while Mo ran along the sandy dirt edge. His mom might not like it if he came home dirty from romping in the mud, but he would wash his feet off before he went home. He thought about playing with the monkeys that swung on the vines that draped from the trees that were close to the river on one of its banks. He thought that Freddie would like to do that, and he thought that maybe he could go into the river and try to swim with his friend, but he didn't think that would work out too well. As Mo got closer to the trees, he heard noises coming from a little patch of very long grass. It didn't sound like any noises that Mo had ever heard before. He thought that it sounded like a human talking, and a wee small human, he thought. He had seen humans before because they often traveled in motor cars. They took pictures of all the animals that they could see. Well, that's what Mo's mommy told him they did. He never really got close enough to any of the humans because his mommy and daddy told him that he shouldn't go near them. But he did watch them from places where he could hide in the trees. He was usually eating when the humans drove their cars past. He was very curious about them, but he listened to his parents and stayed away. This time Mo couldn't stay away. There was a small human coming right towards him, and Mo didn't have anywhere to hide. The small human seemed to be singing a song of some kind, and Mo thought it sounded beautiful, so he just listened to the tiny voice. Mo knew that this was a child and that it was in danger of falling into the river, so he stepped a little closer in the direction that the child was moving.
"You can't go near the water, little one,"
Mo told the child.
"It's too dangerous for little people. There are big fish and snakes in that river. Besides, I don't know if you can swim, and I know that I can't. Please be careful." "Oh, hello, you scared me,"
said the child.
"I know, my mommy told me not to go near the river, but I was just looking to see if I could see any fishes or turtles. What's your name?"
"My name is Mo. What's your name? And how did you get here all by yourself?"
"Hello, Mo. My name is Max, and my daddy is just over there behind those trees. He is looking for some kind of plant that he has been searching for a long time. I don't know what the name of it is, but he really wants to find it,"
Max answered.
"Mommy tells him that he will. When he gives up, it will pop up right in front of him. I think he should give up now, but I don't think he will."
"Maybe I can help him find the plant he's looking for, Max. I know where all the good plants are because that's what I like to eat. Most of the time I eat the leaves and the trees, but sometimes I can eat the plants that grow on the sides of the hills. Do you think you could tell me what it looks like? We could even make a game out of finding it, Max,"
Mo said, full of excitement.
"Okay, Mo, I can't go too far away, though. My daddy would be worried if he can't see me,"
Max told him.
"Do you know what the plant looks like?"
Mo was curious and hopeful that he knew the plant.
"Well, Daddy said it's green, just like most of the plants here. He told me that it has some yellow right on the tip of the leaves and in the stem part, too. He thinks that the strangest thing is that it has red and purple flowers,"
Max advised him.
"Oh, I think I know which ones you mean. The problem is that they are far away from here,"
Mo said, frowning.
"That's okay,"
Max said.
"Are they really far? Do you think it would take you long to go and get some and bring them back here?"
"It won't take me long, Max, but I'm afraid it's too far for you to go. It would only take me 10 minutes if I run. Do you want to wait here for me?"
"Sure,"
Max replied.
"Daddy is going to be busy for a while. Mommy might come looking for me, but she won't make me leave or anything. I think she might come to bring snacks. My daddy and me like to have snacks about this time."
"All right, Max, I'm going to go as fast as I can. While I'm gone, you must stay away from the river," Mo told him. "There are things in there that can hurt you. I'll hurry and be back here in no time."
"Be careful, Mo,"
Max said.
"I will,"
Mo said as he started to walk away.
"Why don't you go over closer to your daddy, Max? It's safer for you over there."
"I will,"
Max told him as he started walking to the tall trees where his father was searching for plants.
"See you in a while."
10 minutes later, Mo was back at the riverbank where he and Max had met, but there was no Max. The blue giraffe looked over to where the baby's daddy had been searching for his special plants, but there was no baby and no daddy either. Mo was so sad because he thought that he would probably never see Max again. Just when he started to walk away, he heard the little boy call out,
"Mo, Is that you I hear over by the river? I hope it's you, Mo, because my daddy is packing up his gear and getting ready to leave.
Just then Max came out from a tiny group of trees in the opposite direction to where he was earlier. When Mo saw him, he was so happy that he began jumping off the ground with all 4 of his long legs. He hopped over to where Max was, opened his mouth where he held the plant, and it dropped onto the ground in front of the boy.
Is this the plant that your daddy has been looking for, Max? I hope it is, because then he won't have to search anymore,
Mo told him.
And if he doesn't have to search anymore, then maybe he will let you play with me. Let's take it to him and we'll find out,
Max replied.
Do you want to come with me, Mo?
Sure, if you think it will be okay with your daddy, Mo said hopefully.
My daddy loves all the jungle animals, Mo,
Max said with a big smile.
He even likes the snakes and the tigers. I think he might be afraid of the snakes, but I haven't really met a snake yet. You are the first blue giraffe I've ever met, Mo. How come all the other giraffes are yellow and brown with spots, but you are blue with stripes instead?
I don't know, Max, replied Mo. My mommy and daddy told me it's because I'm special and they think that I will do something amazing in my life. They don't know what it will be, but they think that something really good is going to happen to me.
I hope so. I think that you are already doing something special, Mo,
Max said proudly.
You found these plants for my daddy. He has been looking for these since before I was even born. And look, I only just told you about them and you have found them in just a few minutes. Thank you, Mo. Daddy will be so happy.
The boy and the giraffe walked for a few short moments, both talking about their family and the things that they liked to do in the jungle. Every once in a while, Mo would stop to eat some leaves that grew on the tall trees, and Max would bend to pick up a pretty plant or a shiny rock off the jungle floor.
Is your mommy and daddy blue too? Or is it just you that is striped with blue? I love that color, Mo,
Max told the giraffe.
It looks the same color as the sea, and sometimes the sky is that color too.
Nope, Mommy and Daddy are yellow and brown with spots, Mo declared.
I have a sister too. Her name is Sammy, and she is yellow and brown just like my Mommy and Daddy. She always tells me that she wishes that she was blue and striped, but I think she is beautiful. Let's go see my daddy,
Max suggested.
He's just over there near that little cave. I think he's going to be so excited.
All right, let's go see your daddy then, Mo replied. You think he will like me coming with you, or do you think maybe I should wait here?
Oh, I think he's going to be so happy to see you,
Max said gleefully.
I wonder if he's ever seen a blue striped giraffe.
Even I have never seen a blue striped giraffe, Mo said as he laughed. Then both the giraffe and the small boy began to giggle all the way to the small cave where they met the boy's daddy. Max was right. His daddy did love meeting Mo. The 3 of them played for the rest of the day. Mr. Max seemed to have more fun than the 2 young ones, though Mo could not remember ever having as much fun as he had with Max and his daddy. They played a game of hunting where they all took turns being the hunter while the others were exotic animals that were being hunted. Not with pretend weapons or anything like that, but just for the fun of finding and seeing strange and beautiful animals, just like Max's daddy did in real life. Mr. Max was so happy with the plant that Mo had brought him, and the 3 of them went on a short journey to see the exact spot where Mo had found the plants. Max's daddy couldn't believe that he had never been to that place in the jungle before. He gathered a few more pieces of the plant, making sure that he didn't harm them at all, and put them in a sack to take them safely back to his camp. When it started to get dark out and the sun was setting close to the ground, Mr. Max said, "All right, kiddos, I think it's time to head home. Mo, your mommy must be worried about you. I think you should hurry before it gets too dark."
Okay, Mr. Max, my mommy won't worry about me, but it is getting late and I'm very tired.
Mo said with a little yawn. I have never had so much fun as I did today. It's great to have friends. Yes, it is, Mo, and I can't say how much I appreciate you finding those plants for me today, Max's daddy said happily. I am so happy to have met a blue-striped giraffe, too. You are one amazing creature, Mo.
Well, thank you, sir,
Mo replied shyly.
Can Max and I play again tomorrow?
Oh, yes, I think that would be wonderful, Mo, Mr. Max said. In fact, I might even join you in your playtime. Maybe you could even help me find a few other plants, and we could find some strange and wonderful animals as well.
I would like that very much,
Mo confessed.
I'll see you tomorrow then. I'll come here to your camp as soon as Mommy says I can go play. Good night.
As Mo walked home, he thought about the glorious day that he had with his new friends. He thought about his crocodile friend that he hoped to see the next day, too. Mo was sure that Max would love to meet Freddie and that they would make lots of new discoveries in the jungle together. He wished that Freddie had been there today, but he was certain that they would all have fun together when they all met tomorrow. Such a wonderful day he had, and a bright future filled with many more happy days with his friends. Mo was so happy, in fact, that he seemed to dance all the way home. The end for now. Grandma thought about that story, and she wanted so very much for her little one to like it. She thought about all the stories that she wanted to share with her grandchildren. She was going to think of 100 more stories that she could tell, songs she could sing, and games she could play with all of her grandchildren. But for now, she needed to work on finishing the little blanket and giraffe for her newest grandchild. Making sure to write down when she changed stitches or got to the end of a row, before Grandma realized it, she had finished nearly half the blanket. It looked so beautiful already that she wished it were finished so that she could see the completed project. It wouldn't be long, though, she thought. Setting it aside for a while, Grandma went to the kitchen to begin preparing her dinner. While in the kitchen, she thought about all the times her grandchildren came to her house for dinner and all the fun they had together as the children helped in the kitchen. She especially enjoyed the times when they baked Christmas cookies. She remembered the gingerbread house they had built out of cookies they had baked. It was a little lopsided and a tiny bit crooked, but it was beautiful with its multicolored decorations of green, red, purple, pink, and white. That is when Grandma decided that she would write a poem about the gingerbread house that her little loves had made just a few short years ago. It was a happy time filled with laughter and joy with the people that she loved the most, her grandbabies. The Gingerbread House. The bright star sits atop the tree, right where it's supposed to be, for all the Christmas guests to see. Such fun they have when they decorate. For Santa they will, with joy, create delicious goodies on a Christmas plate. With cookies and candies of red and green, a yummier plate will never be seen. For Santa to eat till the plate is so clean. Next to do is a house so small, with cut-out cookies that make each wall, that are covered in tiny sugar balls. The children sneak bits as they quietly giggle, and can never sit still as their little bums wiggle, which makes Grandma laugh too with a tummy that jiggles. All decorated with the candies not eaten, and frosting of white that surely does sweeten. The beauty of it could never be beaten. The children sit seeing what they had made, with smiles on their faces at the goodies they've displayed, with cookies and candies of beauty arrayed. Grandma thought about the holidays to come, and she was thrilled that there would be a new grandchild that would celebrate the Christmas season for the very first time. What a happy time it would be. She wished more than anything that she would be able to spend the season with her family. She knew that would be impossible, but that didn't stop her from wishing it so. She imagined the eyes of each of her grandchildren as they first saw the gifts that Santa would bring, all displayed under the tree so beautifully. Their eyes would glow, and the smiles on their tiny faces would bring such great joy to Grandma's heart. So many presents. It was so quiet in the house when Cecily woke on Christmas morning. She couldn't sleep any longer, and she wanted to go downstairs to see if Santa had already come with presents. Little Cecily had been lying awake in her bed for what seemed like hours. But it was still dark outside. No sunlight was shining through the bedroom curtains, so she knew that it was still too early. Getting quietly from under her warm blankets, she reached up to the top bunk, climbing up to the second rung on the ladder. She could hear her sister's noisy breathing, and she thought for sure that Carly was still sleeping. Touching her older sister gently on the arm, she asked in a whisper,
"Carly, are you awake yet?"
Carly grunted a reply, but Cecily couldn't make out what she had said, so she asked,
"Do you think we could sneak downstairs and see if Santa came?"
"Oh, it's still nighttime, Cess. But,"
she said as she drew the covers off,
"let's go see. Should we wake Tanner up, do you think?"
"Yeah, let's see if he's awake yet,"
Cecily suggested as she climbed down the rungs.
"He's probably been up all night."
As the girls tiptoed into the room next to their own, they heard Tanner quietly say,
"I didn't think you guys would ever wake up."
Then he climbed down his own ladder backwards.
"Be quiet and we'll go see if Santa came yet. Try not to wake Mom and Dad, though. They'll just say that we need to go back to bed because it's so early."
"I don't think it's that early, Tanner. It must be almost 6 o'clock at least," Carly told him.
"I just want to peek downstairs to see if the presents are around the tree."
"Yeah, okay, but remember to be quiet," Tanner said again. The 3 children crept quietly to the head of the stairs that led into the living room where the large Christmas tree stood in front of the big picture window. The 3 children were amazed by what they saw, for Santa had been there, and he had left a room filled with presents galore. Packages of red and white, blue and silver, green and gold, all wrapped in ribbons and bows of all colors. Cecily started to cry out with happy glees, but Tanner quickly quieted her with a firm, "Shh, Cess, Mom and Dad will hear us." "It's too late, Tanner boy," came the deep voice of his father from around the corner where their bedroom door stood open. Tanner stood frozen, as did the girls, for just a minute. Then he walked to his parents' door. Looking into their room, he said,
"Morning, Dad. Merry Christmas."
"Oh, is it Christmas already? Are you sure it's morning yet?" His father had a gruff voice when he woke in the morning, and this morning was no different.
"It's morning, Dad," Tanner told him. "And Santa has been here already. We can see the presents all around the tree. Can we go downstairs?"
"Let's wake your brother up first and get Mom out of bed, too," he said. "I'd like us all to go down together. Why don't you and the girls go and sit and wait in your bedroom until I get Jack out of his crib and your mom rolls out of bed?" This wasn't a question, really. It was more of a command.
"Okay,"
Tanner replied.
"Do you want me to get Jackson out of the crib, Dad? I can do that."
"Sure, why don't you get him and take him to your room? Be gentle, though. Remember, he's still little. So don't scare him awake. Be gentle."
"All right, Dad, but hurry."
Tanner was so excited, and the girls were hopping around in their own excitement, too. He rushed down the hall and quietly opened the door to Jack's bedroom, where he found the little guy standing at the side of his crib, bouncing up and down. Apparently, Jackson knew it was Christmas and couldn't sleep either. He hollered out in excitement at seeing his big brother coming to his bedside. He knew that he would be out and romping around the house.
"Hi, little guy. Merry Christmas,"
Tanner said as he lifted his little brother out of bed.
"Guess what, Jackie boy? Santa came and brought us presents."
Jack didn't really know what Tanner meant by that, but he could tell that Tanner was happy about something, and that happiness spilled over onto Jack. As they both slipped out of the room, they filled the hallway with giggles. Now, usually the boys would go straight down the steps, so when Tanner headed for his bedroom, Jackson pointed toward the stairs, wanting to go that way. As soon as they got to Tanner's room and he saw his sisters, he forgot all about going downstairs. It was Christmas, and Jack knew the day was special because he was in his older brother's room with his sisters. He usually had to stay out of Tanner's room because there were too many things that he could get into. His brother had lizards and snakes, and he also had many toys that he wasn't allowed to touch. So for Tanner to let him in his room, he just knew it was a good day. When Jack saw the girls, he let out a joyful cry of delight. Carly said, "Let's go wait in the hall and look down the stairs. I want to see the presents." "Dad said that we need to wait in here till Mom is up," Tanner told her. "If we go out there now, they might make us wait longer. Let's just stay here for a few minutes and see if Mom gets up fast. I know, I want to go out there too." Cecily continued to giggle and hop around the room. Then, all at once, all the children began hopping and giggling. They were all talking at once, but no one could understand what they were saying. It was a happy morning. Jack, though he was excited, still didn't know what all the excitement was about. Then his dad came to the bedroom door and said, "Hey, okay, guys, let's go downstairs." "Wait," they heard their mother say from out in the hall. "I have to get my robe first." "Hurry, Mom," all of the children said as they stood at the door ready to run down the steps. "Okay, kids. Are you ready? Get set. Stop!" Their father was always joking like that. He really thought it was funny to tease the kids. But right at this moment, the children didn't want any joking around. They wanted to run down those stairs and find out what Santa had brought. "Dad!" all three of the older children yelled. They really didn't want to play that game right now. They all just wanted to go see the presents. "All right, Robert," Mom said from the hallway. "Ready, set, stop!" "Mom!" the children all yelled again. "Please, can we go down now?" "All right, let's go," their father finally conceded. "Slowly, though. I don't want anyone falling down the steps." Every child stilled for a moment, quieting the entire house. They all began then, slowly walking out of Tanner's room toward the steps that would take them to where all the gifts sat waiting. Their eyes sparkled with wonder and the joy of a happy Christmas morning. "Let's go," Tanner said to his sisters. He handed Jackson to his father, who took him gently and started to walk down the steps that led into the family room. They all stood for a minute, looking to where the Christmas tree stood with what looked like hundreds of gifts scattered on the floor around it. "So many presents," Tanner said quietly. "So many presents." Carly's echo was just as quiet. "So many presents! Oh my, let's go!" Cecily hollered out and began rushing down the steps. "Carefully," the children's mother advised. "Everyone find a place to sit and we'll see what Santa has brought."
"So many prezzies."
Jackson repeated what the others had said. He looked up at his father and said it again.
"So many prezzies, Daddy."
And the day was wonderful, filled with so many presents. Grandma thought about all the Christmases that had passed, and she knew that this Christmas would be special because there would be a new grandchild to celebrate the season with them all. But her dinner was made, so she took her tomato soup and grilled cheese sandwich to the dining room. She sat and thought about the holidays for a time. Then her thoughts returned to the blanket that she was making. She had decided that she would make a matching giraffe, but thought, too, that she might make a lion to go with the giraffe. She hoped that she would be able to make it exactly as she saw it in her mind. Then she thought that perhaps she could write another poem, but this poem would be about a little lion and a young boy who's named Max. Grandma wasn't certain yet how the poem would go, but she finished her sandwich and soup, then went to her computer and sat, thinking about a young lion and a young boy, and a friendship that they would have for a lifetime. There are so many stories that Grandma wanted to give her grandchildren. So many, in fact, that she didn't think she could write them all in her lifetime. But she would at least start and finish as many as she could write while her babies were still young. Max and the Little Lion. "What's the matter, little lion? What's the reason you've been crying?" asked the boy who was just trying to stop a little lion from crying.
"I don't want to be the king, 'cause the king's not supposed to sing,"
answered the fluffy little thing.
"They said the king's not allowed to sing."
"What's your name? My name is Max, and I think you can just relax," said the boy who carried 2 sacks. "Can I sit with you while we relax?"
"Sure,"
said the little lion boy.
"I think that would really be a joy."
So he sat and he gave the lion a toy, which made the lion's tears turn to joy.
"But I want to sing, for singing is my favorite thing,"
said the lion who would one day be king.
"I love to sing, see that's the thing."
"Yes, please tell me your name, for you will be king of fame and change the rules so they'll never be the same. You will be the first singing king of fame."
"Hello, Max. My name is Zach. My mum is Zoe and my dad is Jack. So they mixed them together in a little sack and took the Z from Zoe and the Ack from Jack. You said that I will change the rule, and if I could sing, it would be so cool,"
said the little lion who felt like a fool.
"If a king could sing, our kingdom would be cool."
"Well, if you are king," Max said, "you can rearrange. You could set the rules and make the change, so that the king can sing. It would not be strange to hear the king sing, for the rules he did change."
"You're a smart little boy, my good friend Max,"
Zach said, then asked,
"Will you join in my packs? You have presented me with wonderful facts, so I will be happy to have you join in my packs."
"I would be happy and I would be glad. To join in your family would not be so bad. But if I stayed here with you, my own would be sad. So if I could come just to visit, it wouldn't be so bad."
"I'm so happy we've met,"
said the happy little lion.
"And thank you for making me happy without even trying."
"I'm happy too," and Max was not lying, "because I have gained a new friend without even trying." And they were friends forevermore, the little boy and the lion. Once Grandma started thinking of everything she wanted her grandchildren to read, she almost couldn't stop writing them all down. I loved you all along. I've loved forever and always, you know, even before you began to grow, and before your mommy acquired that glow. We all guessed if you'd be a small girl or a wee little laddie, and the guessing drove us all a bit batty. We're glad now that you're here with your mommy and daddy. The first time I saw your beautiful face in the pictures your mommy sent to my place, I wanted to take you in my arms and embrace. But you were too far away from me then, and I wished for the day that I could hold you when I crossed the great sea in an airplane again. So I crossed that deep sea to hold you close to my heart, where I've held you in my dreams from the very start, because in my dreams we are never apart. I loved you all along, and my love is so strong that when I think about you, my heart sings a song. So Grandma finished typing her 2 poems and then decided to look on the internet for a cute little lion that she could make for her new grandchild. She looked and looked until she found the perfect little Zach. She decided that she'd better get busy with her stitching if she wanted to finish her projects in time for her new grandbaby. She thought that maybe her little grandchild would feel the joy and love that she had had for her little one even before she was ever able to hold him in her arms. So Grandma got started right away on the little projects that she had planned so carefully, hoping all along that she would be able to complete them by the time her little one arrived, and that they would be beautiful when she did. After sitting in her rocking chair for nearly 2 hours stitching away, she stopped and wrote down the stitch number that she had just finished and set the blanket aside. She stood up slowly, feeling as though she had been sitting in that chair for 3 days. Every bone was stiff and every muscle was achy. "Oh my," she thought out loud, I'm sure getting old. Let's lay this little blanket out and see what we've got so far." As she took the little blue bundle of yarn to the dining table, she laid it out so that she could examine it carefully. It looked wonderful. She walked over to her project basket and took out the small swatch of fabric that she would use to complete the blanket, stretching it over the large square of yarn.
"Yes,"
she said to herself,
"this is going to be beautiful, just like my little grandchild. I can't wait to finish it, and I can't wait to meet him."
Grandma went into the kitchen and heated up a cup of milk. Warm milk always helped her sleep just a little better each night. She didn't usually sleep well, but when she did have her cup of warm milk before heading off to bed, she did get a bit of rest. When her milk was warm, she carried the steaming cup into the dining room and stood over the table where her beautiful little blanket rested atop it. She stood looking at it, thinking about the 2 little stuffed animals that she wanted to make to go with it. She pictured them in her mind and smiled. She just knew that they would be perfect. Then, finishing her milk, she took the empty cup to the kitchen, rinsed out the cup, and placed it in the dishwasher, then turned it on. She preferred to run the machine at night because it saved on electricity. Besides, when she ran it at night, she didn't have to listen to the hum and chatter it made as it washed the dishes. As she climbed under the covers just a few minutes later, she thought about the stuffed animals that she would make for her grandbaby. Then, as she slept, she dreamed of a little poem that she could write for him. She wanted so desperately to be able to recall that dream when she woke in the morning. When morning did come, Grandma slipped out from under her warm covers, slid her feet into her cold slippers, and inched her way into the kitchen. On her way, though, she picked up the pen and paper that she had placed on the little table that sat next to her rocking chair. She wanted to write down the poem that she dreamed about last night before she could forget the words. She thought and thought about what she should title her poem. Then she came up with the perfect title. Pigs wearing wigs doing jiggity jigs. 5 porky pink little pigs, each wearing curly swirly colorful wigs, were all doing fanciful jiggity jigs, then stopped to eat their dinner of figs. They were joined by 5 pygmy goats, all dressed in furry fur coats, each carrying pink polka dot totes that were filled with their dinner of oats. Then along came 5 yellow chicks, wearing green hats made of cinnamon sticks, each eating ice cream on sticks and taking deliciously long licks. When the cows joined the small group, all 5 dressed in suits, in a very large troop. They all danced in a pink glittery hoop, then sat down to eat some vegetable soup. They were chatting and eating and laughing through lunch, taking time out from their jig to finish their munch. The noise was so loud that came from the bunch of farm animals who created such a big crunchy crunch. Grandma was not sure how she thought of that poem because she had gone to sleep that night thinking about lions and little boys. Sometime deep in the dark night, she turned her thoughts to farm animals. She didn't know why, but she was most thankful for being able to recall the words to her poem. It wasn't often that Grandma could remember her dreams, so she hurried and wrote them down before the words left her. She thought that her little one would surely like that poem. It was a happy poem with lots of dancing. That day, Grandma talked to Courtney on the telephone, and her daughter reminded her that next week was the week that her little one was going to be born. Grandma had thought that it was later in the month, but she was so excited to learn that it would be so soon. So that day, she got busy on her blanket and nearly finished it. She could hardly hold her eyes open when she finally set the blanket aside, went to the kitchen for her warm milk, drank it down quickly, and went to bed. When she slept that night, she dreamed of the day her beautiful little grandchild would be born, and she thought of one final poem to tell her little one. She hoped that this would be the poem that her baby learned first. She hoped that the child would remember it when they themselves grew up and had grandchildren of their own. She wanted them to sit in their rocking chair, telling it to their own little one. One more poem. Come walk with me a while. Come walk with me a while down the road, my little love. I want to watch as you smile when we hear a mourning dove. We'll walk along the road ahead and look for little frogs, or maybe we'll find bugs instead that hide beneath the logs. You'll tell me about your day, and I will tell you mine.
I had fun at school,
You'll say, as your eyes sparkle and shine. What did you do at school, my dear? I'll ask, I want to know.
We learned about the baby deer that sometimes they call them doe. But the best part was on the playground. At break time after lunch, I found $1 on the ground and bought candy by the bunch. I shared with each and every friend, but found out soon enough that when I got to the very end, there was no more candy stuff. At first I was very sad because I did not get any. But then I thought and was so glad because my friends, I had so many.
Where did you learn such sharing ways? I'll ask with admiration. Your reply it will simply amaze, for it will be a revelation.
I learned from Mom and Dad.
You'll say, a smile on your face. I'll look at you then, my little lad, and wrap you in an embrace. I love you, my beautiful boy, I'll say with moistened eyes. You bring me such happiness and joy, enough to fill the skies.
You know I love you too,
you'll say and hug me ever close.
Because of all the things you do and for being my gran the most.
I try to show you every day, I'll say, how much I love you so you can grow up the right way, become a gentleman, you know.
I watch you, Gram, so I can see,
you'll say,
the good things that you do. I can learn how I should be just by watching you.
Until then I did not know that I could love you more. But in that moment my love did grow. I loved you then more than I did before. Come walk with me, my little man, I'll say to you again, so you can teach me, if you can, how I can be a good woman. You seem to have more sense than I, so show me what to do, and I will surely give it a try to be half as good as you. Show me, I'll say, how to be gentle and kind and true. You're my example, and I can see that I want to be just like you.
But Gram,
you'll say with humble pride,
it's from you and Mom and Dad that I have learned to abide and to be a good little lad.
Come walk with me a while, dear, and we can teach each other. I said within my eye a tear, for he reminded me of his mother. The end. Until next time.